A brand successfully does it. It's the brands that really understand their community.
Institutions played a fundamental role in forging together creative communities.
Our brightest minds can actually solve the problems that need to be solved right now.
So my name is Raven. I am the head of brand solutions for an online video company called Crane TV that started 5 years ago as a video magazine and is now also working with brands in creating branded content.
So my name is Igor Zinatoin. I'm head of development at Cover 22 Foundation based in London, and we promote culture, contemporary culture from Russia and Eastern Europe. And we do it via different projects. We've got a physical space which is called Covered Gallery. It's based in East London. We have an online project called the Covered Journal, where we tell exciting stories about creators from the entire former Eastern Bloc. And we've got a very extensive program of student exchanges between British and Russian universities. And we also organize all sorts of conferences in Russia and in Britain.
Hi, my name's Pip and I am the founder of The Dots. It's a business that I started in Australia which has been designed to help creatives connect with commercial outcomes. Really we're about helping creatives make more money, connect with brands, connect with new clients, connect with jobs and freelance opportunities.
So my personal experience of working with brands has always been, it's always been great. It's always been something that has lived and died and been successful or not on an understanding of each other. That's it.
I think it's really important that when a brand is looking for a creative, there is that natural synergy. I think, there's the disasters of where a company works with a creative just because they think they're cool and they don't really understand what they do, and then the creative's aesthetic gets compromised for that brand, or the creative just doesn't end up wanting to work with that brand.
If that partnership in any way disrupts what that creator has sort of worked so hard at establishing, then it becomes very problematic.
Like any good relationship, so your relationship with your boyfriend or my relationship with my girlfriend, the same as a relationship with a brand, you just have to understand each other. You have to understand what each other need and what they want, and how you can help them get to it.
I think when a brand successfully does it, it's the brands that really understand their community and they understand their brand, and then they look for who within their community, what creatives they respect and what creatives their community would be excited about.
I think it's a great opportunity for creators to get to a much wider audience, because that's the benefit there too.
There's that natural synergy between the community that love that brand and the community that would be inspired by that creative work. So I think that's where the brand magic comes together.
When you talk about brands working with creators, I think the concept of creator has expanded in a sense. So we just did work with Harry's. It's a shaving brand in the United States, and they really collaborate with their community and they try to make the brand better because of the community. So it's not your classical sense of creators, like they're not making music and they're not, painting a mural or anything like that.
Creatives have become their own brands in many ways as well, which I think is wonderful, where you can be your own brand, you can produce your own creative content and actually commercialize that on your own back, not necessarily having to associate yourself with a third-party brand.
I'm often sort of very cautious about trying to create branded content for some of our clients, because they need to understand the in-depth sort of investment that they need to make, that if it's not credible or legitimate, it's going to be more detrimental to their brand than to never do it.
Creating something that reflects their brand values rather than their products has definitely changed.
I know it sounds crazy. I don't think it's that special anymore. I think it's just the way of doing business. Like, if you are going to be a creative brand and culture, you bring the creators in, because this is just what you do these days, which from 10 years ago, totally different. But today it's like, yeah, of course you're collaborating with creators. In fact, it's not even that interesting anymore to say that you collaborate with creators.
The best examples I've seen are when the brand is almost invisible or transparent, and they're less about trying to inform a new audience about themselves, but more so introduce themselves through the lens of another creator.
They are integral in creating the brand and actually shaping where the brand goes in the future. And I think that's what's really interesting about this era. It's not only the democratization of traditional forms of creation, like art and music and photography and things like that, but it's almost the democratization of where our brands are going and where our society is going. It's that mutual relationship between brands and consumers.
It's kind of a good example to talk about with next to the brand conversation as well, because normally the institutions that we work with, their values and what they do is usually much more transparent.
My perception of the institutions is this role of a supporting hand that will open your doors.
Institutions played a fundamental role in forging together creative communities in some of the most creative cities in the world, like London and Barcelona and Berlin and New York and many others.
For example, where I'm from is this state in the United States called Wisconsin, and there's a town called Milwaukee. And in Milwaukee, the creative industries work with the government to help them solve social problems.
And we see that there's so many new exciting projects coming up in many unexpected places in Eastern Europe, in Africa, in Latin America, which probably haven't got the same institutional support. It just shows that you can get all the knowledge and all the information from the internet, as long as you have curiosity and a broadband connection.
And I just think that's really rad, like this idea that our brightest minds can actually solve the problems that need to be solved right now.
When you have an institution behind you that has an established reputation, that has connections, the network, the resources, this is a different story.
But at the same time, I've recently had a conversation with the director of the Victoria and Albert Museum, Martin Rose, who talked about digitalization of sort of putting stuff on the internet, because clearly there is an institutional crisis within the institutions, and people just don't really realize how internet and institutions work together. And I think that what's happening right now is actually a massive deinstitutionalization of the knowledge and sort of creative space, because you no longer need all these frameworks and all these complicated structures and all this hierarchy in order to get in order to tap into the pool of knowledge and skills that makes that nurtures creative talents. Well, I've got a very simple wish. I mean, professionally speaking, for Calvert, I would love to make less excuses about the region that we're covering whenever we're saying that, you know, there is a creative culture, but we know that it's such a grim political landscape, or that, you know, there's so many terrible stories happening right now. I wish the latter part was actually much less prominent. And I think that I hope that all those creatives that we're covering in this region will eventually will be able to make this country more livable, more friendly, and more integrated into the rest of the world.